It's recording? It's recording, okay. All right. Good morning, everyone, to all MCMC staff. Welcome to TeaTalk at MCMC. Thank you very much for joining us today, for all the Zoomies and also the people joining us physically at the TeaTalk area level 3 MCMC Tower 1. So today we have a special TeaTalk at MCMC session. We have with us an external speaker. His name is Santil. He is from Arbinger Institute. He's going to talk to us today, share with us today a topic that is called Taming the Rebels. So it's actually raised our curiosity about the topic. So we hope that we can learn a lot today. So before I pass on the microphone to Santil, just would like to inform the Zoomies and also the people that join us physically. The session will be ongoing for about 1 hour's time. At the end of the session, there will be a quiz session with 5 questions where all the staff are invited to join. And later on, when the quiz session has ended, we will have a lunch provided that is only for the people that join us physically. In the meantime, during the course of the session, Santil's colleague is also joining us via the chat, Georgina. Hi, Georgina, welcome. So hello. Georgina is going to be on standby throughout the session to answer any of your Qs and As. So, okay, I think we can start.
Thank you, Aisha.
Santil, over to you.
Good morning, everyone in MCMC. Thank you for being here virtually and some of you physically. So we just want to make it an interesting session. So I hope, you want to ask questions, you ask your questions either on chat or, just share, unmute and share, because it's going to be more interactive and engaging if you ask questions rather than listen to a lecture. Okay. All right. Now for the virtual folks, like Aisha just shared, okay, just remember, if you have any questions, ask it like any physical participant, or type it in the chat box. Same thing, share your thoughts as well, your experiences as well on the chat box, or just unmute and share, right? We want to make it interactive. Okay, now the ideas presented are based on these books that Arbinger wrote, A Leadership in Self-Deception, The Anatomy of Peace, and the Outward Mindset book. Okay, now I want to start by asking you a question. What do you think are the top 3 reasons why people don't listen to you? So they're older than us. Okay, what else? Rank. Okay, one is age, another one is rank, higher authority. What else? They're not interested. Okay, what else? Their expertise is greater than ours. Okay, what else? Sorry? Experience. Okay, expertise, experience. What else? The virtual folks. Yeah, Georgina, do you have anything added? Can you just read it out for us?
Yeah, we have human nature because it's triggered by someone, lack of respect, behavior, different expectations.
Okay, different expectations. Okay, great. Now, if you think about everything that was shared, right, there's something that they all have in common. Okay, you notice everything that was shared, right? They are relational in nature. Authority. I've got more expertise than you, right? Or, pride or trust or, whatever, right? They're all relational in nature, okay? But we are not talking about relationships. We are talking about the connectedness we have, right? It's different from relationships. This is relational. We are connected with each other, okay? So something that, when we talk about being relational, there's something even deeper. And in this session, we're going to explore some of these issues, okay? All right. Now, so what is the premise of everything we're going to talk about? And the premise is this: we are always being with others. We are never alone. Now, let's say, right, I'm driving to KL on my own in my car. Am I alone? No, why? Rachel, why am I not alone? Around me. And even if there's nobody around, right? Am I not thinking about people who I left behind? Am I not thinking about the people I'm going to meet? You notice? So there's a fallacy that we can ever be alone. We are never alone. We are always being with others. Meaning the principle is this: life is in relationship. We are all in relationship, right? And if life is in relationship, I'm in relationship. And if I'm in relationship, change and learning, even inviting change in others, is in relationship. Okay? Now, keeping this in mind, right? Now, if we are in relationship, right? We are all in relationship. We are relational, right? Then we need to talk about every time I talk to somebody, let's say I'm talking to Rachel, right? The question is this, when I'm talking to Rachel, how am I showing up? I may not know her, so there's no relationship, but we are relational, right? We affect each other, right? So how am I showing up in this conversation, right? And basically, there are two ways to show up in any conversation. One way is I'm totally self-focused. I'm only thinking about myself. In this conversation, I'm making life harder for Rachel. We call it the inward mindset. Another way to show up in this conversation is I'm impact focused, right? I'm worried about what will happen if I say the wrong things, right? I'm concerned. I want to make sure I'm helpful. I'm impact focused, right? So I'm making it easier for people around me. In this case, Rachel. We call it the outward mindset. So when we talk about being in relationship, I can either be in relationship making life harder for people around me, or I can be in relationship making life easier for people around me. And this is what we want to talk about. Okay. Now, so keeping this in mind, let's try to understand the two mindsets in a bit of detail. Okay. Now, let's start with the inward mindset. Now, let us say this is me now with an inward mindset. Now, when I have an inward mindset, others don't matter like I matter. But I still have to work with you, right? You're still there in my life. But because you don't matter to me, your needs, your goals, your challenges also don't really matter to me. That means my objectives and behaviors are totally self-focused. That's why the red solid triangle is pointing toward me. That means who are you to me now? You're an object of value. So here's the first point. Whenever I'm operating with an inward mindset, the coding, the programming, you're on IT technology, right? The programming, the way I function, everything that I do is based on your value to me. Are you useful to me? Meaning, can I use you? Are you making my life difficult? Meaning you're an obstacle to me. Or are you useless to me? Are you irrelevant to me? So you notice when I'm operating with an inward mindset, the way I engage other people is based on their value. Are they a vehicle? They can make it easier for me? Are they an obstacle making my life difficult? Or are they irrelevant? I really don't need them. They have no value. Now, as a result of this orientation, what do I invite in people around me? No, what's your name, ma'am? Nadia. If I'm treating you like this, what am I going to invite in you now? Are you going to cooperate with me? No, right? So you notice, whenever I operate with an inward mindset, I invite people-related problems. People-related problems in their 1,000 different manifestations are actually not problems. They are symptomatic of a single mindset. But the good news is this, I've yet to meet a single human being who's 100% inward. And I've yet to meet a single human being who's 100% outward. We all seem to be mixed mindset people. That means in different moments I'm inward, other moments I'm outward. In different relationships I'm inward, other relationships I'm outward. Right? We are imperfect human beings. That means as I'm inward, I'm also outward. And when I'm outward, others matter like I matter. Others are people to me. And because you're a person, your needs, your goals, your challenges matter to me. And therefore, my objectives and behaviors take others into account. I am not doing a job for you. That's not my job. But I'm going to do my job in a way that is mindful of any impact it might have on you. So the summary is this. Look at the world I operate in when I'm operating with an inward mindset. It's all about me, I, myself. But look at the world I naturally operate in when I have an outward mindset. It's inclusive. Now, just looking at this, in which mindset do you think I will have people who are not listening to me now? Inward, outward? Mostly inward, right? So the question is, so how do we tame the rebels, right? What do we do about it? Okay. Now, to understand this, we need to talk about another issue. Okay. And to do this, I'm going to show you a video. And that is, what do you think people are primarily responding to? Are they responding to my behaviors, my thank you, my smile, or are they responding to my mindset, how I see them? Okay. What do you think? What do you think people are responding to? My behaviors or my mindset? Behaviors? Okay. Now let's watch this video. Okay, and the person we're going to watch, his name is Justin Wheeler. Okay, he's going to talk about what he realized in his life, when he was 16 years old. Okay, let's watch this little clip. Here we go.
Grew up in a very, very small town in Idaho. Grew up on a farm. My graduating class had 38 people in it, and most of us couldn't read or write when we graduated. And I had a football coach who was like a 55-year-old guy, had been a Division I heavyweight college wrestling champion, like a true, gruff guy. I played football for him, and he was mean, and he was grumpy, and he was, he'd yell at me and tell me, Wheeler dropped the piano, because I'm so slow, and he would, tell me he was gonna pull my eyelashes off. I mean, just got all this kind of stuff that you can't do anymore in schools today, right? But I loved him. And I would run through walls for him, right? But very tough style, very difficult to, he wasn't warm and fuzzy. During my high school years, I also had a basketball coach, 30-year-old guy who thought at some point he was going to be coaching the Boston Celtics, who had almost the same style. Wheeler, you need to learn to drill with your left hand. Why can't you jump? Sit, all these kind of really mean things that he would do. And I hated him. And for a long time, I couldn't understand why that was. Why could one person who had very tough behavior and a tough style I would love, and why would it be the other person that I would really kind of detest? And the answer really came down to mindset when I think about it. My first coach saw me as a person, and what he was trying to do was raise good young men. My second coach saw me as a vehicle or an obstacle to his ultimate goal of coaching the Boston Celtics. And so that came through so clearly to me, even as a 16-year-old boy.
Even as a 16-year-old, Justin could tell when he was being seen as a person and when he wasn't, even though the behavior of his two coaches was the same. So you can't say, to be a great leader, act like the football coach, not the basketball coach. You can't say that because their behaviors were the same. Both these coaches were tough. Both were hard in their behavior, but their influence was completely different because of their mindset, how they saw Justin. Influence and leadership and effectiveness with people, none of these are simply a matter of skills or techniques. Others generally respond to us in the way they do, not because of our behavioral style, whether we exhibit hard or soft behavior. They respond to the way we see them. And we can't hide how we see others. No matter what we are doing on the surface, people can usually tell how we see them.
I hope there was not too much of an echo for the virtual people and for you all, to listen to two different audios. But what were your thoughts listening to the video? What do people primarily respond to? Are they responding to our smile, our thank you, our sorries? Or are they responding to our mindset? What do you think they're responding to based on what you heard in the video? Yeah. Okay, now let's say, right, Ridwan, right? Let's say I say sorry to you, but I don't mean it. Most of the time, can you tell whether I meant it or not? Okay, so if you can feel it, what are you responding to? Are you responding to my mindset, whether I meant it or not? Or are you responding to my sorry? Mindset, right? And you said after a while. Now, let's say you go to a fast food outlet. You spend less than 60 seconds in front of the counter and you order your food. And they're reading a script. Good morning, sir. Welcome, right? Other times you just know whether they meant it. Other times you know they didn't mean it. So it was only a less than 60-second interaction, A lot of times, can we tell? So there's this myth that we can't tell other people's mindset. The truth about life is if we just reflect on it, most of the time we can tell. There will be exceptions. Life is not perfect, right? Most of the time we can tell. And if we can tell how others are seeing us, what are we responding to primarily? To their behavior or to their mindset? To their mindset. And this is something so important. So if you want to think about influencing other people, right? Now, there's a very, very important principle. And the principle is this. People, I think we can hear you all here. Just, yeah. People primarily respond to our mindset, how we regard them, not our behaviors. And the more we grow in our conviction, confidence with this principle, the way we start to think about how we need to interact with others dramatically starts to shift. Okay, so don't take my word for it. Just test for yourself. Is there any truth to this principle? Are we okay? Are there any questions you have? Yeah. Does it apply at home as well? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Parenting. Whatever we share applies to both home and at work. Okay. All right. Now, so keeping this in mind, let me now share with you a framework that can help us potentially strengthen our influence moment to moment, day to day. Okay. Now, so this, we call it a pyramid, but you can see a triangle here. This pyramid or triangle represents available time. And the space within the triangle is all the time we have every single day. And we basically use our time doing two types of activities. One, dealing with things that go wrong. Another one, helping things go right. Now, if you think about it, in which activity are we currently spending more of our time? Dealing with things that go wrong or helping things go right? Right? Now, when we ask people, majority tell us they're spending most of their time dealing with things that go wrong. But where do we need to be spending more of our time? Yeah. In fact, to increase our productive influence, we need to be spending more time helping things go right. The question is, what goes into the space? What do we need to be doing to help things go right? Okay. Now let's explore that now. Now, see, you notice the triangle now or pyramid is broken up into 6 levels. Wider the base, more effort and time required. Next, you will notice the bottom 5 levels now belong to helping things go right. Now look at the time allocation for dealing with things that go wrong has shrunk to the smallest time allocation. Okay, now let's build it up, right? The most important level is I need to work on my mindset. I need to improve my mindset. Am I seeing people as people? Okay, now let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 4 out of 10. My mindset is only 4. Most of the time I'm seeing people as objects. From 4, where do I need to go now? Maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 4.1, how much ever I can push it, right? Because the more I see people as people, which is mindset, you know what? I'm better placed to do the next best thing, which is build a relationship. Because if I want to be of more influence over Rachel, right? I need to have productive conversations with her. We need to listen to each other. We need to understand each other. That's influence, right? Yeah. Then I need to have a relationship. Okay, but you notice between build a relationship with Rachel and my mindset, there's one gap here. So what is that? What this is saying is before you can even build a relationship with a single person, you need to consider what is your relationship like with others who have influence over this person. Now, what does it mean? Let's say Rachel and I both work in this team. We are all one department. Okay, now, so I work with Rachel. In fact, both of us work with all of you over here, 5, about 10 of you here, right? Now, the question this level is asking me is, do the people that Rachel and I work with, which is all of you, do you all find me to be a helpful person or not? Right? Are you with me? Because if all of you do not find me to be a helpful person, is it going to be easier or more difficult to build a relationship with Rachel now? Because if she's unhappy with me, who do you think she'll go and talk to? One of you, right? And maybe she'll go to Nadia. Hey, Nadia, can I ask you a question? You also work with Senthil, right? Hey, what is it like to work with Senthil? And if she cannot get along with me also, what do you think? What kind of conversation will happen now? Oh, yeah, this one, I cannot talk over like this. Let's go for lunch. I have my heart to pour out to you, no? I need to de-stress, you know? Can you imagine? But let's say all of you find it easy to work with me. Then what will the conversation look like? It'll be different. And then maybe it might invite Rachel to think, hey, you mean I'm the only one having problems with Senthil? It might open up possibilities. Does it make sense? So this level is little understood. Now, let me talk a lot about it. How many of you are married here? Just raise your hands. Now, those of you who are married, if you're nice to your in-laws, how does your spouse treat you? Is there a correlation? If you're nice to your spouse, in-laws, your spouse becomes nicer, right? There's a direct correlation. Now, let me share with you a story. I always like to share this. One day, I was doing, having a meeting with my colleague in US, Dr. Chris Wallace. We were on Skype at that time, nearly 20 years ago, and we were designing something and we were looking for activities. And suddenly Chris stopped me and said, hey, Senthil, stop. Let me ask you a question. Your wife, Muller, who are the people that matter to your wife, Muller? I said, well, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, and these 3 or 4 friends really matter to her. Okay, among them, who do you care about? I never thought of that question. Then I said, well, maybe these 3 or 4 people, I really don't pay attention to the others. Then guess what Chris tells me? Well, Senthil, to that extent, don't waste your time trying to improve your relationship with your wife. It's not going to work. I said, what? He caught me. After nearly 20 years in Arbinger, he realized I did not understand the pyramid. Right? So the common notion about building relationships is this. If you want to build a relationship with someone, you got to invest in that relationship and care for the other person. Is there anything wrong with that? No, right? But what Chris helped me see that day was, that's not the complete equation. If you truly want to build a relationship with someone, it's not good enough to invest in that relationship and care for the other person. You also need to start investing and caring for the relationships that matter to the other person. Because if not, Muller cannot talk about her mother to me because I don't care. I cannot talk about my mother to her because she doesn't care. She cannot talk about her father. I cannot talk about my father because we don't care about each other's fathers. She cannot have a brother. I cannot have my sister because we don't care about each other's siblings. She cannot talk about her friends. I cannot talk about my friends because we don't care about our friends also. So what is there to talk about? Huh? Darling, I'm home. Oh, cooking. You want any help or not? Children, how? Homework, how? How's your day? All okay, huh? Okay, fine. I go sit in the TV front way, do my own thing. That's it. Got relationship with my wife or don't have anything? I don't know about you. Once my wife came into it, we need to talk, lah. I just want to check, hey, did we make a mistake getting married? I don't think we have anything in common, Really, we don't have anything in common. Why? Because all the relationships matter to her do not matter to me. Have you ever heard this? Hello, I married you. I didn't marry your kampong, Have you heard that before? See, again, right, there's something incomplete about those kind of comments. Because when I am liking somebody and I want to marry them, right, I'm not marrying an individual, no. I'm actually marrying a bundle of relationships. Right? That means this human being, they have many people they're thinking about. The person sleeping beside me on the bed, they're thinking about somebody. They're worried about somebody else. And until and unless I understand who they are thinking of, who they are caring for, and am I concerned for all that, the relationship will not be close. Right? So there's a big incomplete, big gap in many families. They are not understanding the severity of why the marriage is not working, because they're not paying enough investment in what? Relationships that matter to the other person. Okay. Now, then you think about children now. What is it like to be cared for by a parent? Or rather, what does it feel like for a child to be cared for by parents who cannot get along? Let's say my wife and I cannot get along, right? What is it like for my child now? Because if I'm angry with my wife, who do you think I'll take it out on? My kids. Right? Can you see that? Right? Now, so we give a workplace example. We talk about family examples. So this level is little understood. And we need to start paying more attention here. So if somebody is not listening to you, right? Straight away check your mindset. Check, hey, who are the people that, for example, Nadia and I work with. Hey, what is my health of relationships across the ecosystem? Oh, no wonder she's not listening to me. There's no relationship. There's no influence at all. Right? So now that the relationships are better, you know what I can do now? I can listen and learn. I'm more willing to listen, learn, and understand about Rachel, about Nadia, about other people. Right? And I'm willing to receive what they have to say. I'm not straight away defending myself. And now that I'm listening and learning more, I can teach and communicate appropriately. Now, these are the 5 levels that constitute helping things go right. And the better I get at this, the time needed, the opportunities where I need to correct other people and fix other people shrinks. And my need to correct others also shrinks. This is what we call the influence pyramid. And if you want to tame rebels, if you want to influence, you want other people to listen to you, the question is, are we investing more effort and time in the bottom 5 levels? Okay. Now, let me ask you some questions now, right? Now, question. When I'm correcting other people, whose issues am I addressing? Mine or somebody else's? When I'm correcting you, hey, you're not doing this correctly. It is going to benefit you, but whose growth issues are you addressing? The other party, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the reason I'm correcting is because it has a larger purpose, right? That's what you mean, Rachel, right? But when I'm correcting you, it's because you are doing something wrong, right? So whose growth issues am I addressing? The other person. Does it make sense, right? So when I'm correcting somebody, I'm actually addressing other people's growth issues. But what about the bottom 5 levels? Whose growth issues am I addressing here? My own. I'm checking, hey, is my mindset healthy? Are my relationships healthy? Am I listening, learning, understanding? Do I need to improve my teaching? Does it make sense? Right? So the correction part is actually addressing the growth issues of another party. Whereas the bottom 5 levels are my growth issues. Does it make sense? Right? Now let's push it, right? Now, question. Okay, let's push this. Now, what do we have control over? Others' growth issues or my growth issues? My own, right? So where should we be spending more of our time? On what we have control over or no control over? Have control. But where are we spending more of our time? Can you see that? Can you see the ineffectiveness of that? Why are we spending more time on what we have no control over? Okay. The more time we spend on what we have no control over, we are strengthening our influence or weakening our influence. No, when we have no control, I don't have control over this, right? The more time I spend here, am I strengthening my control or weakening my control and influence? Weakening it. Does it make sense? So the way to strengthen my influence, right, is to spend more time on what I have control over, which is the bottom 5 levels. Okay. Now, the pyramid actually teaches us 3 lessons. But before we do that, right, let me ask you this, right? Now, when you're dealing with a crisis, where do you need to start? Top or bottom? You have no time. Top, right? Let's say there's a fire in a building. What do you do now? I got to, hey, usher everybody down, no? Oh yeah, but my mindset very inward. I have to improve my mindset first. Can you do that? Oh, my relationship with this gentleman is not good. Let me build a relationship. Cannot, right? The fire will engulf everybody, you know? So when we are dealing with a crisis, you don't have time. So you start from the top, right? Can you see that? Right? So that's what it is, right? You have to use it like that, right? When there's no time, urgent crisis, start from the top because less time required. But if you're trying to build a culture, if you're trying to strengthen the environment, make a happy family, a happy workplace, where do you need to start? Bottom, right? So this is a firefighting mode, whereas this one is a long-term thing, right? You need to keep on investing and improving that. Does it make sense? Yeah. Now, keeping all this in mind, let's look at 3 principles. Sorry, 3 lessons. Okay. The first lesson, work bottom up. Most time and effort should be spent where now? Yeah. On what you have control over, right? Yeah. Because that's the key, right? The wider the base, more effort and time. Next, when stuck, go lower. Let's say I'm correcting my child. It's not working. What do we reflexively do? Let's say my child is not doing the homework, right? Hey, go do your homework. It doesn't work. Then what do? We reprimand. Then what do? Threaten. Then what do? No food. Then what do? No more pocket money. I mean, can you see that? You notice when our correction is not working, a lot of times reflexively, we find a new way to correct. And we find a new way to correct. And we find a new way to correct, right? But that is the biggest trap. Because what this pyramid is saying is, if my correction is not working, then the problem and therefore the solution is not in correcting. It may be somewhere deeper. Hey, have I taught this person correctly or not? Have I listened and understood why they are not doing their homework? Is it because they're scared of the subject? Is it because they don't enjoy it? Is it because you're very tired? Do I understand? Do I have a relationship? Is my mindset not in the right place? Right? So whenever you do anything correcting, one time, second time, What this pyramid is saying is, hey, second time already, take a step back, check. Hey, the problem is not there. The problem is somewhere else. Are we okay? Right? Let's say you're teaching. I taught already, still not doing this correct thing. So I teach again, teach again. What is the pyramid saying? The problem is where? If I taught 2 times already, still not working, where's the problem? Down. It could be anywhere below. Are you with me? So you're listening, it's not working. Where's the problem? Below that. Okay. Wherever you are, if you're repeating that cycle, you're addressing the symptoms. The problem is deeper than that. Are we okay? Now, finally, mindset matters most, right? Ultimately, my effectiveness at each level of the pyramid depends on the lowest level of the pyramid, my mindset. Why? Because this is my mindset, right? But the top 5 levels, they're all behaviors, right? So without the right mindset, can I still do the behavior? I can still smile, right? But how long can I tahan? I smile, but I don't mean it. How long can I keep the smile up? After a while, cannot tahan already, right? Yeah, it's not sustainable. Are we okay so far? So we call this the influence pyramid. And if we want to increase our influence and help other people, listen to us, accommodate, collaborate better with us, we need to be spending more time over here. And the likelihood is whoever you're thinking of and having problems with, there are weak levels in the pyramid you need to pay attention to. Only you will know what they are. Okay. But here's the thing. We are never 100% outward, right? We are sometimes inward, right? So now the question is this. Let's say I'm inward now. What do you suppose the inward mindset does to the pyramid? When I'm inward, who do I think is a problem? Others. So look what happens when I'm inward. The inward mindset fundamentally shifts the way we utilize our time. When we have an inward mindset, we spend most of our time correcting others. Everything we do at the lower levels of the pyramid ends up feeling to others like part of our correction efforts. I'm teaching you because you can make my life easier. I'm listening to you so that later on you listen to me. I'm building the relationship with those people so that I can get through to you. Everything is manipulative. It's agenda filled. It's not genuine anymore. The moment I go inward, nothing I do here is genuine. Everything is manipulative. It is all calculative. And what can people sense that? They can sense that. Huge implications. So you notice the moment I'm inward, I only see one issue. What is the issue? You are the issue. I need to solve you. I need to sort you out. But when I'm outward, how many issues do I see? I can see more comprehensively. Hey, I think I need to help them. I think I need to improve my teaching. Hey, I think I need to listen more. Hey, I think my relationships need to be better. Hey, I need to improve my mindset. I see a more comprehensive environment in front of me. But when I'm inward, I only see one issue. What is that? You need to be fixed. Come to the end of the presentation. Yeah, that's it. That's the answer. How do you tame rebels? What questions do you have? Love to hear some questions. Georgina, are there any questions or thoughts in the chat message?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Oh, someone said something. So it is more common for people to focus on other people's mistakes rather than their own. Where does this issue fail? Where does this issue fall?
Yeah. Okay. So now think about it. Just looking at the 2 diagrams, if I'm fixated with other people's issues, what does it suggest about my mindset? Am I likely to be outward or more likely to be inward? More likely to be inward, right? Because why am I so fixated with them? Maybe it is true that they have a problem, right? But am I giving enough attention? Hey, why am I spending so much time correcting this person? It's not working. It's so inefficient. Are you also at the same time looking at yourself and saying, hey, what is my mindset? Am I seeing this person as a person? What is my relationship like? Right? Am I listening to this person? When was the last time I just sat with them and then allow them to just be my teacher and let them tell me whatever they want to tell? Just listen and understand. Be curious about what they have to say. If I have not done all this, right, then it's problematic. Okay. So, Georgina, I hope I'm exploring this, yeah, well enough. Are there any questions, post questions you have? Whoever answers the question, please share your thoughts as well. You can unmute and share as well. Yeah, Rachel? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can that happen? Can that happen that you're really trying to build a relationship is not working? So there are two possibilities I can think
Hi,
of. Okay,
sorry, Sandra.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question for the Zoomies because we can't hear the question.
Okay, the question is, what if I'm really trying very hard to build a relationship, but it's not working? That's the question, right? What if you're really, Rachel, that's your question, right? You're trying really hard, but it's not working. Now, then if you look at the pyramid, what is it suggesting? Okay, there are two possibilities. One is really the problem is still with me. I need to evaluate whether I'm bringing the right mindset to the relationship itself, right? That is one question I need to ask and evaluate and assess my own mindset. Now, let's say my mindset is outward, but nothing I do is working, right? Then, okay, it's safe to assume that the problem is not with us, the problem is with that person, right? And if after trying all this, the bottom 5 levels, it is still not working, then I have no choice but to remain at correct. Does it make sense? Right? And of course, if they are a peer to you, it's a different type of correct because you have no influence and control over the person. If they are your superior, you have no influence and control that much. But if they are a subordinate, there are other actions you can take. Does it make sense? Because you set the standard, the kind of leadership and team you want to have, right? Whereas if they are peers or other stakeholders, you have no control, influence over, it's a different type of correction. You may have to live with the problem, right? You may have to see, okay, how do I protect my sanity as I'm working with this person who's simply refusing to be different, right? But they are not somebody I have control or authority over, and you need to figure out what is the best way forward. Yeah, but that sometimes that happens as well, right? But that is not always the case. If everybody I'm working with is like that, and when I come across issues like that, then it is very likely that actually I got a bigger problem. Statistically, right? If everybody is having that, I'm having a problem with everybody I work with, I really need to check myself. Okay. But if it's one or two, it could be the case. These are isolated incidents where I have no choice but to correct them. Yeah. Cool. Great question, Rachel. Are there any other questions you have? Yes. Can you share your name, please? William, yeah.
I'm just curious, will this model apply to, say, you may have, now we hear a lot of people with ADHD or who are autistic, or autistic is a spectrum. So you may come across, maybe for some who they may have difficulty understanding maybe instruction. So does this somehow still apply, or these are the outliers where you can't really apply them?
Especially with people who have learning difficulties or other difficulties, right? The influence pyramids becomes even more important because these people, right? The question is, am I outward enough to understand that this person is unique, is special? Am I accepting that fact, right? That's my mindset. Or am I fighting it? They could be my child, they could be another colleague. Am I fighting it all the time? That means my mindset, I need to question my mindset, right? So especially, even more important when we're dealing with people who are special, okay? The mindset becomes extremely important. Investing in the lower levels become absolutely important. Imagine listening, understanding. I thought I understood my second daughter, okay, Shona, and 2 weeks ago, she's 15 years old. 2 weeks ago, she was interviewed on radio about reading, and she shared a perspective which I never thought about her. She said, when I look at a book, I see words, right? I can't appreciate it. I cannot read a book for more than 20 pages. And the way she talked about how the words show for her, right? It's very difficult for her to difficult for her. But if you show pictures, if you show other things, she can appreciate them so much better. And I never knew that. And she's preparing for O levels. Can you imagine how much additional challenge she has preparing for an exam, which is a public exam? And she had to read tons of books, which I just took for granted, right? So when people have special needs, right, difficulty, right, the pyramid becomes even more important. Yeah, great question. What are the questions you have? Georgina, are there any questions in the chat box?
Yeah, one just came in. It is how to teach and communicate if the subordinate is more experienced and knowledgeable than the superior.
Okay, fantastic question, right? And in our environments, it could happen, okay? Now, the question is not, how can I teach? The question is, how can I let them teach me first? I think we are, as a boss, we think we are supposed to teach them, right? And that is the biggest trap we fall into when you have senior people under you. You have to go, look at that, right? Below teach and communicate, what is that? That means what? Who must I allow to teach me first? My staff. And if they are senior staff, listening and learning means, hey, tell me, how did you do it last time? How did it work? What can I learn? What has been your experience doing this, right? And it is in that letting them be my teacher, right, that they will be more amenable to listening to what I have to say. Okay? So you have to remember, look at the pyramid, it's so robust. You ask me any question, I can just use a pyramid and guide the discussion, right? It's so powerful, okay? So even when you're dealing with senior people who are under you, right, the pyramid is absolutely critical, right? That means, am I allowing them to teach me first? Because that is the bottleneck. The bottleneck is your staff thinks they know more than you. And until and unless you address that objection they have, you cannot make a breakthrough with that particular stuff. So the question is not how do you teach them, but how do you let them teach you? And then how to teach them will naturally come. Okay,
Sandra, we have two more questions.
Yeah, sure.
So the first question, another question is, what can we do to shift to become more outward and less inward? Second question is, what does being an introvert or extrovert influence our mindset?
Okay, so let's start with the first question. What do we need to do to be more outward? Okay, now that is a topic in itself. Okay, so I would encourage you to read. Remember, I showed you 3 books. One is called Leadership and Self-Deception. The other book is called The Anatomy of Peace. And these books actually help you understand what is mindset. How do we move from what causes us to move into the inward mindset? What causes us to get stuck? What causes us, when we are stuck in the inward mindset, we invite others to join us in the inward mindset and make life a bigger mess. And how to neutralize the inward mindset and move out. All that is shared in the 2 books. Later on, I'll give you maybe, I don't know what MCMC has. Can you all join public workshops? We have a public workshop in August. You can come there and learn about all this, okay? But it is a topic in itself. And the key, I'll just give you a glimpse of it. The key is you need a language to understand your mindset. You need a language for self-awareness, okay? Now, again, I'm going to put the books there, Leadership and Self-Deception and The Anatomy of Peace, okay? These 2 books can really be very helpful to understand your mindset. Georgina, what's the second question? Just look.
Okay, does being an introvert or extrovert influence mindset?
Right. Now, the introvert or extrovert, right? Those are potentially, for example, right, at the end of the day, I like to be myself and wind down. That's an introvert, right? There's another person to wind down. Can they be alone? They straight away call their friends and they want to sit together, WhatsApp chat or in person, right? That's another way. That's an extrovert, right? Now, regardless of whether we are introvert or extrovert, that's your personality. It will not change over your lifetime, right? That's personality. I can either be an inward mindset introvert or an outward mindset introvert. Are you with me? I can be, I repeat that. I can be, let's say I'm an introvert, right? I can be an inward mindset introvert or an outward mindset introvert. Okay, same thing, extrovert. I can be an inward mindset extrovert or an outward mindset extrovert. So introvert, extrovert, they are likely the personality that you are born with. Okay, but your mindset is something that you can choose. And it's going to make the quality of your life depends on the mindset with which you are exhibiting your personality. So mindset is deeper than that introvert extrovert, because that is something you can control. Okay, I hope I'm clarifying. Yeah. Are there any other questions you have? Yeah. No? All right. So now let me ask you, right? Think of a difficult relationship you have now. Think of a difficult relationship. Okay. Now look at the pyramid on the left, right? Not the inward mindset, the blue side, right? And ask yourself, in which levels are you currently weakest in that situation? If for you, it's which relationship? The person or the one with the others who have influence, or both? With that person. Okay, great. Anybody else? Where are you finding yourself the weakest when you think of a person you're having difficulties with? People in the virtual side can also type in your message, right? In which level are you weakest when you think about somebody you're struggling with? Sorry? Teach and communicate. You're noticing a weakness there. Okay, anybody else? What about in the chat message, Ajina? Anybody typed anything?
So far, no.
No? Cool. Now, so just think about it, right? So now you notice you're having challenges with a particular individual, and then you recall the pyramid and say, hey, where am I currently weakest? Okay, what do I do to strengthen those levels? Right? That will be a good start.
Yep.
Okay, another way to use it is, yeah, Georgina?
Someone shared in the chat, I think listening and learning is something difficult for them, getting to listen without being interrupted.
Okay, cool. Getting to listen without being interrupted. Okay, right, cool. And if the interruption is from the environment, then you can actually have more control, right? Okay, when I'm talking to this person, there is an lot of interruptions in this environment. Maybe I need to bring them to another place or another room, or we need to switch off our phones or whatever, right? So, and then we can create a less interruptive environment for that conversation. Yeah, right. So there are two ways to use this, right?
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also meant like when they are talking to that person, but they experience the interruption from the person that they're speaking to. That's the
okay. Right. Now, yeah, so that could happen as well. And what we are noticing is, right, the more curious we become of the other person, the interruptive nature of the other person will start to reduce. Okay. Are you really interested in what they have to say? I want to share with you an analogy. You know, a bore well, you know what a bore well is, right? That means you're underground water, right? So to dig a bore well, you need to put a pipe, drill it down, right? And when you start pumping the water, what kind of water will come out? Murky, it's called brackish water, right? Muddy water, right? But you keep on pumping, what will happen? The water will become cleaner, clearer, and purer streams will come out. Similarly in listening, right? When people are you are listening to them, or whatever, right? You just become curious about what they have to say. The more curious you are, right? Allow them to talk, right? And a lot of these problems can be minimized. Yeah. But you have to do trial and error because we don't know what the real problem is. I'm just giving you based on a statement that you made. You have a better context of the challenge you're facing. Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts? Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just maybe I should frame it in the context of working with others who share the same outward mindset to not necessarily correct, but to guide the inward person to at least to be in line with the group, to guide them slowly into the consensus. That because usually is in that group. So there might be one or two problematic persons, but the others are pretty much outward looking. Yeah. So I think it's kind of good that perhaps the group could slowly push or nudge them into the outward mentality that most of the people outside subscribe to. Yes. Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely. Great point, right? So as long as we are nurturing the outward mindset, right, in people, in the team, they'll, then you'll notice more and more people are coming on board the journey, and there'll be one or two people who will take a bit longer. And the reason they'll take a bit longer is because they're struggling in their own mindset, and they need more time. And, maybe they need to understand what mindset is all about. Maybe they need to understand that they are stuck and they don't have a language, right? Self-awareness language to understand why they're stuck, and that's why I just wanted to share with you, right? The books I'm talking about, if you want to understand how to improve your mindset, one is Leadership and Self-Deception, and the other one is The Anatomy of Peace. Okay. Those talk about how to understand mindset better and strengthen the mindset. Okay. All right, cool. Are there any other thoughts, questions? We got another 8 minutes. If not, right, I just want to let you know, if you are curious, you want to know more, I just thought we'll let you know our public workshop. It's happening on the 7th to 9th. It's a 3-day workshop called Outward Leadership. And we will be really understanding. And this tool that you learned is one of the tools you'll be learning. But over 3 days, you'll be understanding self-awareness. You'll be understanding what is accountability like. You'll be understanding collaboration. You'll be understanding, okay, as a leader, right? How do you now manage your team's conflict, relationships, supervisory skills? If you have an attitude problem, performance problem, how do you deal with that, right? Using the outward mindset ideas. So the public workshop helps us understand the full suite of, scenarios that you will face as a leader and how to address them. Okay, just wanted to let you know there's such a program available. We will let Aisha know in case people are interested. Yeah. All right, cool. Any other thoughts, questions?
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. I would like to ask about, I don't know whether this is related to the talk or not, but how is it that in a working environment or in a team, right? Do you, back to what you were saying just now, do you tackle what is the evidence in front of you in terms of attitude and behavior, or what you think, what the nice thoughts that you want to have about that supervisor or staff, in a way that, like, we're having a cognitive conflict yourself because you don't know which one you need to deal with. Do you deal with the attitude that is in front of you, or do you deal with the nice thing that you think that person is actually nice inside?
Okay. Actually, and can I know your name, please?
Oh, my name is Ash.
Ash, is it?
Yeah.
Ash, actually, I will not tackle both the problems.
Mm.
Both the problems are the second step. The first problem I'll handle is when I'm dealing with a situation like this, the first problem I need to deal with, I need to evaluate my own mindset. Hey, with what mindset am I looking at this emotional issue and their actions, right? Because if I have the wrong mindset, okay, everything I see, I will horribilize further. I will distort everything. I can't see facts anymore. With the wrong mindset, with the inward mindset, I can't see facts. They'll be primarily my judgments of the other person. Okay. So preceding looking and evaluating their actions or whatever, I will have to check my own. Have I got the right mindset? And am I bringing clarity and objectivity to the situation? That is the first step. Okay. Now, once I have that level, I can then focus on the facts. Okay. Because the interaction with the individual needs to be based on facts. But the moment I have an inward mindset, facts are thrown down the rubbish bin and I only deal with judgments. Okay. So I would invite you to consider that, Ash, right? Okay. you have to, the fact, very important, you have to deal with facts. Number two, I cannot deal with facts if I have the wrong mindset. So those are the two things I need to focus on first, and the rest will follow naturally.
So basically, if we already have the right mindset, the outward mindset, and we've got the facts right, and we still have to deal with the attitude. So what do you say about that?
Yeah. So the attitude, is let's say you're outward, right? And you see that they have an issue with their attitude. That is a mindset problem that they have, right? Then, because you are outward yourself, you'll figure out, okay, how do I now address this issue where they are bringing the inward mindset to the team? Okay. That is a question you'll be considering. And, we need to figure out strategies on how to do that, right? To do that, number one, what the influence pyramid is suggesting is you've sorted out your mindset. You can then evaluate, do you have the right relationships? Is your relationship strong enough? Are you listening and learning from them, about them? Have you taught them enough? These are the things that you need to be working on, right? Now, what we do in Cyberjaya is for each level of the pyramid, we have a whole suite of strategies, tools that can help us execute those so that you can better deal with a situation like this, right? Any situation. In fact, at the end of the workshop, we have a game plan where as a leader, right, we actually present 30 different scenarios team leaders, have to deal with, right? And how do you now deal with situations like that, including somebody who has an attitude problem, okay? But the idea is you need to evaluate the lower levels of the pyramid and work out a strategy. And the answer is, can we do it? The answer is yes. Will everybody change? The answer is no. There will be some people who are not going to change, and you have to have consequential management based on that. Okay. Now, yeah, thanks, Ash. Right, you were saying, Rachel, your question was what? Yeah, the generational thing, right? Yeah. So it is true, right? Every generation is different, okay? But regardless of the generation, what are we all connected by? We are all, life is in relationship, number one. Number two, what are people responding to? Are they responding to our behaviors? Or are they responding to our mindset? So these two are universal and they connect every generation together. And that is why the strategy that we adopt in our life has to be universal, has to be timeless. And if we start paying more attention to mindset and the fact that we are in relationship, right? And people are actually can sense our mindset and respond to that, we can navigate more effectively generational issues as well. Yeah, that's right. Right, cool. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand over back to Aisha. I really appreciate all the questions and thoughts. Okay. And just let us know how we can be helpful to you. You have a mic there, Aisha? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Senthil. So now we are going to our online game or quiz. Okay, so this quiz is open to all MCMC staff. We have 5 questions with regards to this session. All are welcome to join. We are going to have hold on. I think some of you cannot see my screen. Yeah, for Zoomies, no problem. It's for physical. Okay. Okay, for the Zoom, in the meantime, for Zoomies, you can see at your left down corner, there's the QR code and also the steps on how to log in into the game and to join the game. Okay, thank you very much, Senthil. So for all the physical attendees, you're welcome to join as well. Please make sure that you key in your staff ID at the front of your name. So the top 5 winners will win 30 ringgit e-wallet, right? Top 5. So while waiting for everyone to log in, I'm going to, okay. Okay, let's listen to some music while we're waiting for others to join. Boleh. Boleh. Oh, sorry. Oh, no. Okay, sorry everyone. So sorry. I pressed the wrong button just now. So I'm going to start it again. So sorry. Okay. Can you look it at your handphone screen? If you're already logging on, then you can see it there, the status of it. So we're going to start in 2 minutes time. Physical attendees okay ya? Boleh masuk? Okay. I think we can start. Okay, we can start everyone. We are going to start. Ready? So there's going to be 5 simple questions. First question. What are the 2 mindsets? Look at your phone, please. Oh, laju. Okay, we have a few people leading. Okay, let's go to the next question. Senang kan? Senang. Oh, Hidayat is leading. Okay, third question. Itu tu? Ah. Okay, it is a statement, true or false. Kacang. Ay, alamak. Wah. Okay, 736 is leading. So we're going to our last question. Oh, very good. Everyone voted. 30 people got it right. And the top 5 is congratulations to 999, 586, 736, 1013, and 1038. So you all won RM30 Ringgit e-wallet. We will email you all separately after this. Thank you everyone for joining the quiz. So before we end the session, I just would like to ask, Santil, do you have any last words that you want to tell us all?
I'm just going to leave a few of the books called The Anatomy of Peace in the MCMC library. For those of you who are interested, you can pick it up and read. It's a great book if you want to strengthen your family life and, even work life. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Aisha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Santil, for coming here all the way from Singapore. We appreciate it very, very much. Before we end the session, I would just like to tell all the physical attendees, we have lunch prepared for all of you. But before that, we would like to take a group photo. So to all the Zoomies, thank you very much for joining us. Until next session. Thanks again. Bye-bye.